Hi everybody, just a quick video today about my argument that you should in fact have a better loadout when you spawn in on Livonia in DayZ. In fact, I think you should have a better loadout on almost any other map apart from Chernarus. So bear with me on this, but the idea behind this is that when we start playing DayZ, we start on Chernarus, don't we? And the story behind it of what there is that you find yourself on a beach in Chernarus or very, very near the coast. You're kind of woken up, you're like, oh my god, what's happened? A bit like a Castaway sort of thing. And then in the official introduction video, if you've ever watched it, there's a guy on the radio who says, all right, well, society's falling apart, you need to look after yourself and all this sort of stuff. And you start off with very little stuff. You have like maybe an apple or a pear in your pocket, some rags or bandages, and like a glow light, and that's it. And then you make your way inland, and you've got to find yourself stuff to survive. And that's kind of the gameplay loop that then opens up into infinite possibilities of everything you want to do. However, with Livonia, it's a bit different, isn't it? Because with Livonia, you spawn in the north of the map, normally north of the river. And the question is, well, how did you get there? You know, did you just walk to this area and find yourself there? And you're like, oh, right, here I am with nothing in my pockets at all. Whereas I think what it should be is that, well, you've got to Livonia, or you've got to Deer Isle, or you've got to Namalsk, and you've already been to Chernarus, and now you're exploring the world of DayZ, whatever might have happened, trying to find out what's happened, or maybe just trying to survive and find other survivors. So in Livonia, when you wake up, when you spawn in, you're not really waking up because you've made your way there. I think you should have things like a nice basic backpack, and you should have even things like maybe a shotgun and some bandages, and maybe a compass and a little bit more food. You know, and they could randomise. They could be sort of 10 different loadouts that you spawn in with. And I'm not saying players should be overpowered when they spawn in to start off with, because you still want that gameplay loop of having to find things, but you should definitely not start with very little. I guess there's an argument on any of the island maps, like the PC ones, like Namalsk and Deer Isle, where you could have just got washed up on the coast, and that's where you find yourself spawning, and that's an argument where you would then have very little. But any of the others which aren't islands, well, you must have got there somehow. An alternative thing that maybe DayZ could do is maybe you could spawn next to like a helicopter crash. That would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? But then again, if you spawned in next to a helicopter crash and you come on a helicopter, or as a pilot or as a passenger, you'd have more stuff with you, wouldn't you? You'd have more things than a plum in your pocket, and a glow stick. So I'm not quite sure about that one, but there we go. So that's my argument for having a better loadout on Livonia. How did you get there? You've obviously been to Chernarus first, and then you've made yourself found your way to Livonia. So you should have some of the basics: more food, maybe a simple rifle or a simple shotgun, some simple gear, so then you're ready to take on the threats of Livonia. What do you think? Put your questions and comments down below, and of course, if you've enjoyed the video, hit like. Want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.